Well, I haven't an accurate tally, but I have somewhere in the number of 200 or so. Well, I suppose since I started to play golf, 50 some odd years ago. I think the first putter I picked up, I bought at the old Eaton store when they had the sporting goods department at Queen Street. I went in there one day and saw this hickory shafted, made in Scotland putter called a gem. And it was a gem. It's one of them over here. It's a hickory shafted putter, and I love it. And I still have that putter. It's a long collection. I really didn't intend to collect putters. I would just see something I liked and happen to pick it up, and before you know it, I've got all these putters. Some people collect stamps, some people collect coins. And why do they do it? They do it just because they like them, they look, touch, feel, whatever. And I just decided that putters would be a nice thing to collect. The least available is something called a Portland Ping Answer. 330 were made. I have two of them. They're these two clubs, and they're identified easily because they have a red crest on the side that says Portland Ping, and it's what they call a Dale head, which means that these two parts swoop down, and the Dale heads came out after the famous Scottsdale Answers. Scottsdale Answers putters are worth somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000. These putters are valued at, according to an expert on them called the Pong Man, about $950 US, so certainly over $1,000 Canadian. I bought them both online on eBay and paid less than $200 each for them at separate times. Both came from people in the US. I haven't used them. I mean, they're wall hangers for me, but they're very rare. 2 of 330 putters, that's pretty nice. And they're in lovely condition. The heads are perfect. I did re-grip one because one of the grips was getting in poor shape, so I re-gripped it. The shafts are perfect. There's no rust on them. Pit marks. They're just two lovely putters. I haven't spent an awful lot of money on them. I search for bargains on in thrift stores, online, golf shops. I don't think I've paid, maybe I've paid $200 for a putter. Certainly not anymore. My collection of Wilson designed by Arnold Palmer putters. I have 3 of those, and they're worth upwards of $1,000. That's one. I never made a remake of those, although I do have an unusual one. It was the 40th anniversary edition of that, and I think it was made in Japan. And the interesting thing about that, there's a spelling mistake in it. The designed is spelt incorrectly. They forgot to put the last E in at the end of designed. I think it's probably this one, and this is a hickory shafted putter, kind of an ugly looking thing, and it's very, very difficult to read what it says on there, but it says James Braid Orion, O-R-I-O-N, and it looks kind of like an ancient weapon. It has a hickory shaft, made about 1910, so it's well over 100 years old. I don't suppose it's terribly rare, but it's the oldest one I have in my collection. Well, I guess I have a couple of unusual ones. Here is an old hickory shafted one that has two-sided, so you can putt it right-handed or left-handed. Actually, a two-sided club now is illegal, although there are putters that you can use both ways. The bullseye you can use both ways. That's a little unusual. This is also an unusual one. I don't know how old this is. I guess it's over 100 years old. And they made that type of putter illegal way back when because they said it's too easy to make putts with. You know, it takes some of the challenge out of the game. I'm not sure it makes it that easy. Well, my favorite putter would be one of these Wilson designed by Arnold Palmer's, and favorite because it's fairly rare. They never made any copies of it. It's a beautiful head. It's nice looking. It has what they call a paddle grip. It's a leather grip. It's very comfortable. It looks like you could sink every putt with it. I've never used it, but I love the look of it. It's a great looking putter. I have, as I told you before, I have 3 of those, but certainly one of those would be my favorite. It's just a great looking putter that was designed by Arnold Palmer when he was with Wilson, and then after that it became the 8802 and an 8813 Wilson putter. Yeah, the personal story would be this old hickory shafted putter that belonged to my father, and it's one of the few things I have that I got from my dad, and it's just a plain old blade putter with a hickory shaft. The grip was worn off it, and I put a new grip on it. But interestingly enough, the back of it says Scarborough, so it was sold, I guess, by Scarborough Golf Club. These clubs were made in Scotland, and they were sent from Scotland to the different clubs, and the clubs would assemble them and put their name on them. So that is near and dear to me because it belonged to my beloved late dad. Great old putter.